Alrighty friends, so this is what it's looking like. And I topped it with a little bit of parsley. If you want to, you could put sour cream on top and all that too. But I just put a little bit of parsley on it. So we have our meatballs, our sauce, and some rotini noodles. So we're going to go ahead and try this. I have to say, this is a really good meal. This would be a really good meal in the fall too, because it just reminds me of fall. Like, it gets me back into wanting the pumpkin spice stuff again. My husband can't stand when I want all that. But this is really good. Well, hello y'all. Welcome back to the Hobby Homestead. If you're new here, I'm Heather. Today, we are going to make some lovely Swedish meatballs because they were requested. I got some oil in my skillet over here heating up because we're going to get ready to cut up some onions and garlic and get them in that nice hot skillet and listen to it sizzle. So follow along as we get started. Alrighty there, friends. I have me a lovely Vidalia onion, but you could use any onion of your choice. I'm just trying to use what we have on hand here. Gonna go ahead and get this nice and cut up. After we get this onion cut up, we're gonna get it into a hot oil. So follow along. Already here. Let's get this lovely onion into this hot skillet. You hear that sizzle? Oh yeah. That's how you know your skillet's nice and ready. So while these lovely onions are sauteing, we're gonna go do some garlic. Alright, so now we are going to push that aside and I'll finish that garlic later. I'm gonna smash these garlics. Well, I lost one. And I'm just gonna chop them up. And I'm gonna get this garlic into my pan. Alrighty friends, so I have everything pre-measured out. So I have a half a cup of my homemade breadcrumbs for my bread that I make. I'm gonna put that in there. I have one farm fresh egg whisked up. It doesn't have to be farm fresh, that's just what we have. I have a half a cup of heavy cream. If you don't have heavy cream, you can use whole milk. And then I have 1 cup of freshly shredded Parmesan cheese. And then we're gonna go ahead and get our seasonings prepped. Alrighty friends, so for my seasonings, I need 1 teaspoon of salt. I need a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. Oregano, ground allspice. Let me recheck my measurements here. Yep, about put way too much of that in. A 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. Then we're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna get a different spoon here. I don't know why I'm trying to use that. And we're just gonna mix those all up. Okay, then we're gonna take our onion garlic mixture that we just cooked for like 5 minutes. Basically until my onions are just starting to turn translucent. Go ahead and get that incorporated. Alrighty friends, I have 3 pounds of beef here, but I'm only going to use about half of this, so about 1.5 pounds. I'm gonna go ahead and get that nice and incorporated. Like I said, you can add more than one kind of beef, or more than one kind of meat when making this. But I had beef thawed out, so that's just what I'm using. Alrighty friends, so now that we have these rolled up, you could roll these up, freeze them, and then package them up and put them in your freezer. But I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna bake mine. And then after when we start baking them, then we're gonna go ahead and make the sauce and the rice that they're gonna go over. And I am using a 1-inch cookie scoop. Alrighty guys, so since I got 12 meatballs on this sheet, I'm gonna go ahead and cook these. I'm gonna go ahead and finish making meatballs out of these, but I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna freeze these, and then I'm gonna vacuum seal them and put them in my freezer so I have them for later. Because it's just me and the oldest here. The youngest won't eat these, so me and the oldest, that'll be plenty for us for 2 days. So altogether, we ended up getting 22 meatballs. So these 10, I will go ahead and put in my freezer and get them froze. Alright friends, so we are gonna go ahead and turn our pan back on. We want it on like a medium-high heat. I'm gonna go over here to my fridge. I have some butter here that I shook up with heavy cream. Yeah, so I had a fun activity with the little one. We made some butter. You want 4 tablespoons of butter in here. And we want to go ahead and let that melt down, because right now what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to make our sauce that is going to go with our Swedish meatballs. So while we're getting this melted, we're going to go ahead and we're going to add 4 tablespoons of flour. And what we're doing is we're making a roux, which is going to thicken up our sauce for our Swedish meatballs that we're going to have. That's melted pretty good. So I'm just using all-purpose flour. And I'm using a 2 tablespoon measure. So I'm gonna do 2 tablespoons at a time, just because I don't want my flour to get all clumpy. And you can do Swedish meatballs over noodles, you can do it over rice, you can do it over potatoes. I mean, you can do it over anything that you prefer. So that's 4 tablespoons of flour that I put in. And as you can see, it's starting to thicken up with the butter. That means my roux is forming. You could also use cornstarch. I mean, there's many alternatives to make a thickener. Okay, so I want to add in 2 cups of my beef broth. I'm just going to slowly add it in. And I slowly add it in just so I don't get major clumping going on. Because sometimes if you add it too fast, you can get a lot of clumps going on. And I want to try to keep it nice and smooth. So to that, I want to add 1 cube of chicken bouillon. And I'm just going to basically let that dissolve in there. Alrighty, to my sauce, I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of Worcestershire sauce. Mine's in a sriracha bottle because I like to buy them in big batches. And then we need 1 teaspoon of Dijon mustard. And then we're gonna go ahead and give that a nice stir, just so all these flavors can get nice and incorporated. So we're gonna let this sit on the stove and simmer for a little bit. I'm probably gonna let mine simmer 15 to 20 minutes, just so I know all them flavors are incorporated. But the smell of this is absolutely amazing. Alrighty here, so my crew decided they wanted it over noodles. So I'm gonna add some salt to my water. I like to season my water. Not everybody does. The pan's going crazy because I dropped water on the stove. This is garlic. And then pepper. I used to never season my water, but my husband got me into seasoning my water, and I like seasoning it because then my noodles are nice and flavorful. So what we're going to use is we're using rotini noodles. Let's get this bag open. Yeah, I just spilled them everywhere. Go me. And this is a pound of noodles. So when I serve this, and I'll show you how I serve it, I'll put my noodles in a bowl with my meatballs and sauce on top, because my little one won't eat these meatballs. So I'm gonna make him a little bit of macaroni and cheese. Alright, so now that my noodles are done, I'm gonna dump my sauce in here. Just because I don't think the skillet's going to be big enough to put everything in. And then we're going to go ahead and get our meatballs out of the oven. And they look and smell divine. Like, I don't even know how to explain the smell, because you have the nutmeg, the allspice. It's almost like a cozy fall smell. So I'm just getting the meatballs coated in the sauce. And then I'm gonna go ahead and get this plated up. Back here I have little man's cheese sauce going for his macaroni, which all it is heavy cream, and I just shredded up some Monterey Jack and some Colby Jack cheese. Alrighty, so let's get this plated. Alrighty friends, so this is what it's looking like. And I topped it with a little bit of parsley. If you want to, you could put sour cream on top and all that too. But I just put a little bit of parsley on it. So we have our meatballs, our sauce, and some rotini noodles. So we're going to go ahead and try this. I have to say, this is a really good meal. This would be a really good meal in the fall too, because it just reminds me of fall. Like, it gets me back into wanting the pumpkin spice stuff again. My husband can't stand when I want all that. But this is really good. I would have to give this a 9 out of 10. But other than that, yeah. So that is awesome. Alrighty friends, so thank you for joining me in my kitchen today. If you would, give me a like and a subscribe. That would be totally awesome. We are going to be putting out some more videos here shortly. We got some things we're getting ready to go do, in the process of a remodel and everything else. So it's just been kind of crazy around here. But we're getting back into the swing of things. But I thank you for watching today. I hope each and every one of you have a blessed day, a blessed week. May you all stay healthy with this flu season going around and keeping them little ones safe. I know it's hit our house hard quite a few times already this year. So until next time, friends, bye.